Hi, this is Summer with Wild Women Studios. I want to give you another installment showing a little bit about wigs and how they're worn. This is really basic material, and I hope that you'll find it useful. Though I've got several wigs I'm going to show, and I'm going to film these probably out of order because I have one particular wig that I really want to wear today, and so I want to go ahead and do this video to show it to you so I can get it ready to wear today. This is a wig I just bought off of Amazon. It was really inexpensive, and this is a lace front wig, so it's going to take a little bit of preparation to wear. A lot of wigs that I get, and I have a pretty good collection. A lot of the wigs I get are just, they don't have a lace front, and they might take a little bit of combing out when I pull them out of the package, but they generally, I can just put them on my head and go. I've done my band, and if you want to check out my very first video, I talked about getting my hair ready. So I've got my band on, and I've clipped my hair up on top so it doesn't hang out in the back past the wig cap. But and hopefully you will have seen, I will put them back in order, and you will have seen where I've kind of talked about different wig types and how they're made and what's important about them. But this is a lace front wig, and it's actually a fairly nice wig. It doesn't, some wigs, the less expensive ones, will look really shiny and like plasticky, but this is a really nice, this one's got really nice fibers. And it's shorter than my usual style, and my friends and family all tell me that I should stay with longer ones, but I'm really wanting to go a little shorter, especially for summer, because it's going to be in the 80s today, and summer and likes being outside. So I'm going to be outside a lot, and I'm walking and getting exercise. So I want to be a little cooler. And this wig just really appealed because it's got a lot of the same looks I get in my longer wigs. But I don't want to go too far into that. But here's what's really important about this wig. If you see the front here, you can see that it's made with lace all in the front. And when I flip it inside out, you can see that that lace extends back into the cap. Let's get it around, turned around here. So this is the part line of the hair in the wig, and it's made so that when that part opens up, you don't see the wig cap part. You see through it. And what I will do is, I didn't bring this, but I'll show it to you at some point. I use scar tape. This is a tip someone else told me about, that if you use scar tape, they make us a flesh color. And so I'll cut a strip that will fit right over that part line and from the inside, so that you won't see the color of my hair, and it won't seem dark. They usually seem a little dark because it doesn't fit so tight to your head. So it looks a little dark there. Even though the roots are dark, I still like having the fleshy color under there. And if you look, I don't know if you can see through here, you can actually see through the part line. If I get that up there, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see through it. And this part line also, here's another piece that I will do. So here's steps I will have to do to get this ready. Let me jump back to that. So here's what I will have to do. In this part line, it's very, very tightly together, and it doesn't look as natural as a true part line. So what I will do is I will take my fancy handy dandy tweezers, and I will go through and I will pluck some of the hairs on either side of the part line and sort of make it a little less even, for one thing, but also open it up just a little bit so that it looks a lot more natural. And I will also go through and trim this lace front. If I pull it out, you can see the lace front goes right up to, and there are little baby hairs all the way out here at the edge that they have hand tied into the lace out here in the front. So I will go right up next to those, but I'm also going to try to give it a little bit of an irregular line so that it doesn't look real uniform, because if I did, you'd be able to really see that the lace was there. But what the idea is with the lace front is that when it's done correctly and I've got it trimmed very nicely, it will appear like my own hairline, but without having bulk like a non-lace front wig will have a little bit of a bulk along the edge. And they work much better, in my opinion, with bangs. So if I have a wig that has bangs, then they work really well with it doesn't need to be lace front usually, because the bangs just come straight down and cover the front of the wig so you don't see it anyway. But on ones like this where it's got a definitive part and longer hair, longer side bangs, See, this one has very long bangs, so it won't just hang in my face. So you're going to see this part line very clearly. Now underneath here, it's not so important. Underneath the sides, it's not nearly as important. And that's really, I think it's just easier for them to manufacture that way. I don't really think it's so necessary there. But in this, as I said, in this part line, it's really important. So what I have, another trick I heard was to use cuticle scissors, like little small scissors like this, to do the trimming. And that way you're not like with long scissors, you're making big long cuts. With these, you make little small cuts as you go. So, and if you see also from the end, where it ends, where the lace ends, it's up underneath around the ear. And so this all just really needs to be just trimmed out. So I'll just go through and cut that out. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably just do a coarse cut all the way around, you know, fairly wide margin, and then go back and just a little bit at a time and work my way around to make sure that it gets as close as possible. And then I'm sure I'll test fit it. But you can see I'll go ahead and test fit this one since I've got it. Also, this one came with combs. It has a comb in the back and one on each side. I'm not a fan of these combs at all, and I will probably take them out because they really they have combs that you can sew in that will bend and snap and clip in place and really lock positively. And I've never found these ones to be very, very effective. I mean, they would clip up underneath my band if I wanted them to, but I don't like that kind of fit. I much prefer the friction fit if I'm not have the actual positive grip clips. So I will probably take these out, and I'll need to adjust the bands, the straps in the back here. They have straps that you can adjust that fit into different little holes here in case you need to tighten it up. I have a pretty good size head, what do I have? A 23.5-inch head. So actually finding wigs big enough for me sometimes is a problem. But these kind of Chinese Amazon wigs tend to have a pretty good size head on them. So now that I've already wrapped up, and you can see this, I'll show you what the lace front looks like before I trim it. And then maybe I'll come back and post a follow-up with once I've trimmed it, so you can see that, because it does take a few minutes to do. But just so you get the idea of here's what it looks like. Oh, and by the way, if you don't have these, at least you want to get styrofoam wig heads. They come in a couple sizes, so make sure you get one that's close to your wigs, to your head size. And these are fairly cheap, and but they're really also very lightweight. And so they don't, you know, you can put a wig on them, and I like to store my wigs on them when I'm not wearing them. I'll put them on these just around, they're all over the house. But yeah, and they even have a little hole in the bottom here where you could put them on a post, and you could be a little more secure maybe if you wanted to work with your wig on these. But I also bought this. This is a much nicer one. This is a cork head, and it's canvas covered, and I just left the plastic on it so it keeps it from getting nasty. And it has a little clamp, so it'll clamp to the table where I'm working. So I can clamp it right here beside myself, and I can comb and I can style, and I can cut the lace on the wig. So this is really a highly recommended upgrade from the styrofoam heads. And of course you will also need T-pins, these little T-pins. You'll need some of these to help hold the wig on while you're working with it. But I highly recommend this. And they sell them in size to match your head. Like I said, my head is 23.5 inches around right here in the biggest part. And so they sell these sized that way, so you can get one that fits your head. And so when you put the wig on there, it actually fits much like it does on your head. Not exactly, obviously, but it's a lot closer fit. So I'm going to go ahead and take off on, well, first I promised I'd show you this. So I'm going to show you what the wig looks like when I put it on my head. And so what I do is I find the middle of the front. So this one has the part a little bit offset, but you can kind of tell where the middle is when you look at it. And then the middle of the back on this one is easy because it's got a comb there, but usually you can tell. Usually they'll have a label there. So what I will do is I'll line this up front and back, and I'll stick my head in to the front and kind of peek it there around my forehead, and then pull it down in the back at the same time. And then I can just flip it back to where it needs to be. Now the next piece I will do when I'm actually wearing my wig is you can feel there are two little ear tabs right here on either side. And this one is really twisted. I've got one of them is way up here in the front and one of them is way back here at my ear. So I need to twist this whole wig, and I will twist it and try to use my fingers and where they fit next to my ear to make sure I've got it rotated around to be even. And then I will look and see where am I in the front if I need to move back. And you can see already that this looks like a pretty natural part and pretty natural hairline because of that lace front. It doesn't have bulk here where it's built up. It lays nice and flat. So, and again, I haven't even combed this wig out, so I need to give it some attention. But I'm going to trim all this off way up close to the hairline, up to the hair that's already there, and leave just a little bit of those fine hairs along so it looks more natural. And this will be a great wig. And I mean, it's a little short for what I usually wear, but I think it's going to be great for summer. And I hope you'll stick around and see what it looks like when I'm finished. Thanks for stopping by.